A welcome Wednesday to you all on the Central Coast, minutes after 6 bells. This is Living the Run. I'm your host, Rex Stevens. Olympian Paul Tarek not in tonight. Paul had to change that schedule up a little bit, but not to worry. Hey, folks, happy post 4th of July. 4th of July always giving me that kind of summer feel. Summer is now here, and the heat is here for sure. So when you get out there and you get that blood to boil, a segment we'll have in just a while on this show, make sure you're going out properly hydrated, properly set with your electrolytes, and ready to shed just a little bit more energy in that heat, a little bit more sweat. You need to cool that body down just a little bit. Folks, Living the Run meets each and every week right here on ESPN 1280 The Ticket. And I tell you, what do we hear about? We're here about prevention, not reaction. We're here about lifestyle change, knowing that with just a few simple lifestyle changes, we can change disease conditions that may be plaguing us, those things that are taking our activities of daily living, shutting them down and making them not just that much fun. Saw a lady today who did just that very thing, taking her blood sugar from a type 2 diabetic, blood sugars in the 400s, the 500s, astronomical numbers that most of us just couldn't even imagine, through lifestyle change, not medication, lifestyle change, food, exercise, and just kind of a change in mindset going in. This lady has gotten her blood sugars to normalize, no longer in the type 2 diabetic range. Folks, we see this stuff all the time. That's what Living the Run is all about, and that's what we're looking forward to talking today on the show. We got Matt Smith coming in from Austin, Texas. We're going to talk a little bit of spine stuff today. We've been working our way up in the joints, the ankles, the knees, the hips. We're getting to the spine. We're going to talk relationships there. You know, just absolutely amazing. We've talked this so many times on the show. Don't let insurance get in the way of your health, and stop relying on your insurance for you to make those health decisions. It's just one of the most asinine ways that anybody could think, is to suggest that their insurance is somehow associated with their health and well-being and that output that they're getting in their lifestyle each and every single day. And I'll give you the classic example for any of you listening out there today is work comp issues. You know, work comp has become a mess over time for so many people. A lot of people suffering through that system. Long wait times, lag times, not being able to get appointments, getting referred here, there, and everywhere, but never to anybody that can give you a great explanation. Cutting off therapy way before anybody's ready to be cut off. And it's an issue that has plagued so many, and so many have suffered needlessly as a result. But saw a guy today dealing with a work comp issue on a knee. And, you know, obviously, and we're going to talk to Matt Smith about this, and we've talked about this so many times on the show. Paul Tarek is brilliant at this as an athlete, an Olympic decathlete, knowing that just that slight, subtle change in alignment due to whatever it might be, maybe it's a repetitive use, maybe it's a slight trauma, can just throw the whole system off. And everybody intuitively knows this. You don't need science for this. You just need a little bit of common sense. But here's a guy with just a torn-up knee. He's going on 5 surgeries. They're looking at going to another MRI. It's just, for all intensive purposes, you know, the inside's looking at probably a little bit like spaghetti in there. It's no good. It's a Kellen Winslow type knee back in the 80s when he got thrashed and ended his career. And here's a guy that obviously is experiencing some now discomfort elsewhere. One surgery after another, one rehab after another, constantly compensating. And they just kind of look at him and say, hey, look, your hip has nothing to do with your knee. Your spine has nothing to do with your knee. And that's the system we're in, folks. So, you know, never mistake health insurance for your health. We don't want to do that. And it's important not to make those associations anymore. Again, remember, the systems that work aren't necessarily the systems that are implemented. And again, we should be rewarded, and I'm advocating for this, and people are advocating all over the country, rewarded for making those lifestyle shifts, just like the lady I talked to about today. Look at that. We're talking about a lady who is on the verge, 400, 500 blood sugars. These blood sugars are out of control. She's obese. She's on the way. Heart disease, cancer, stroke, arthritis, joint replacement, medication use. These things go on and on and on as a result of the dysregulated blood sugar. And here, what's she do? No medications. She's going no surgeries. She's not overusing the system. She's changing her lifestyle. She's changing it through food. She's changing it through exercise. She's dropping weight. She's increasing energy. She's reducing pain. She's dropping her blood sugars. Lifestyle. Making the lifestyle shift. And she should be rewarded for that. Insurance premiums should come down. Again, it's simple. You guys are in your cars. Go out, get 10 tickets this month and run into 3 people. What happens? Your insurance premium's sky high, and they should. You're a menace. Get off the road. You're not obeying the law. Well, the same thing should go here. On things that we know we can change by making lifestyle changes, changing our blood sugars, eating a diet that we start to utilize fat for energy more. You're hearing about this all the time. All you Rob Wolf listeners, all you Ben Greenfield listeners, bengreenfieldfitness.com, all you Mark's Daily Apple folks. I know you guys all are listening to these podcasts, reading these blogs. They're all saying the same thing. Increase your use of energy through fat fuel sources, burn more fat. Often you hear the term ketogenic diets. Get off of the glucose, the reliance on glucose for energy, and you start to become more efficient. You stop having the big insulin spikes. You stop having the fat deposition as a result. You start increasing your good hormones again. We start getting a little bit more human growth hormone. We start to kind of regulate maybe some of our hormones again through the diet. We change that food, and all of a sudden the lifestyle changes. Should be reward, but it's the opposite. And I've said that for years since I've been here. In the last 10 years, my insurance premium has gone up 300%. Health insurance premium, 300%. I have 0 visits. I don't go anywhere. I'm not in the system using the system. It's not a pat on my back. It's just it's a look at how the system has gotten malaligned. That the people that are using the system the least are often billed the most. It doesn't make any sense. Car insurance. Get the guy that's running into people, multiple motor vehicle accidents that were his fault, multiple speeding tickets. We wouldn't lower his premiums. So at the very least, let's get on to shows like Living the Run. Let's get on to some of these blogs. Rob Wolf, Mark's Daily Apple, Ben Greenfield Fitness. You pick them. But let's get in with the groups that are making sustainable lifestyle changes, seeing themselves be able to wean off medications, seeing themselves be able to get weight loss that's sustainable, seeing their energy rise, avoiding and preventing surgeries that they didn't really need. All this stuff can be done, and it can be done with actually fairly minimal effort and very, very minimal cost. You know, I was listening to one of the best radio shows in the country, I think third most listened to in the country, Dave Ramsey, one of my favorite guys. He's a great radio guy. One of the great voices. I don't know that I agree with his statement he uses every time. You know, people say, Dave, how's it going? He says, better than I deserve. I don't believe that. I think we all deserve, through our own actions, through our own choices, to live a high-functioning, high-quality life to the end stage of life as well. That's not getting in a nursing home, getting hooked up on 10 different tubes, taking 15 different medications that all counteract each other that just make you a zombie. That's not what I'm talking about. We're not talking about that chronological age. We're talking about functional age. Take it to the end. All deserve that possibility as human beings, and it is all possible. But Dave hit on something today, you know, I thought was great. And he says, I get more people to invest than other folks. I get them to make that action. I get them to make that step, take that step to the next level, and start to sock money away, start to take in some savings, whatever the percentages might be. It's irrelevant. But he gets them to make that choice. And what we're saying here is what is it going to take to make those choices to say, you know what, I'm tired of being overweight. I'm tired of waking up in the morning and being dependent on coffee to get going. I'm tired of every time I go out and work out, I hurt. I'm tired of the nagging injury, one after the other, after the other, after the other. I'm tired of terrible sleep. I'm tired of taking multiple pills all day long. It doesn't feel natural. Guys, all this stuff can be changed. We try to hit on it each and every week in this show in some facet. And I'm telling you right now, prevention is the key. We've got to stop reacting. And I'll just say this. Everything that we say on this show, when people do it, they have better results. Look, the guys are laughing at me. Owen Main, great to hear him on the show, filling in with Mike on the Sports Bite. He knows, when we do this show, we stand. Why? Because the sitting position wreaks havoc. Chronic sitting wreaks havoc. I just got back from San Diego this last weekend. I looked at my wife after 6 hours of driving. I said, I've never felt worse. Energy's terrible. I feel zonked. Muscles are stiff. I don't have that pop. I'm not ready to go. Sitting. If you're in a sitting workstation, find a way to get up. Find a way to at least get standing part of the time. They got up and down desks. But we got to make these changes. We got to look at this and be honest. And the reality is, and we say this every time on Living the Run, you go to a standing desk, we don't have people come back and say, I'm worse. Nobody says my energy's worse. Can't function. Gaining weight. Got to take more pills. Being on that feet, that's a weird thing as a human. Nobody says that. When people start eating less grains, we've talked about Grain Brain, the book. Start eating less. Nobody says, man, I feel awful. Blood sugar's out of control. When got my blood work, liver enzymes up. Nobody says it. When you walk more. When you get in more movement. Look, people were moving an average of 10 miles a day on their feet not long ago. Average American, quarter mile. Quarter mile. One track lap. Change. You can be the change. And you can see just what I saw from that lady today. Blood sugar's coming down, lost weight, energy way up, relationship with her husband way better, their life way better together, better mom, better family member, better friend, better neighbor. Lifestyle change, guys. Guys, Matt Smith coming up, Austin, Texas. You're not going to want to miss this. We started at the ankle. We went to the knee. We're going to the hip. Let's talk about the relationship because you know it. I know it. Forget science. Just use some intuition, some common sense. You know there's a relationship. Back pain, a big, big problem in the United States. We've talked about it before. Number one, drugs out there, guys, are the pain meds. Take them all, over-the-counter, prescription, and so much of it coming from spinal pain, joint pain. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the relationships, and let's talk about a couple simple things you could do at home to improve that if you're one of those struggling with it, or you know somebody that is. Let's get those tips going. Guys, 19 minutes after the hour, CSPN 1280 The Ticket. You're listening to Living the Run.
You're listening to Living the Run on ESPN Radio 1280 The Ticket.
Hey guys, Paul Tarek from Living the Run here. As a former Olympian, there is only one place myself and fellow athletes go when it comes to chiropractic care on the Central Coast. With 4 chiropractors in the clinic, Slow Wellness Center is the largest, most comprehensive group of docs in San Luis Obispo County. I began seeing Dr. Rex Stevens back in 2005 for spinal adjustments to help maximize my performance, minimize my injury, and allow me to compete at my best. When the difference between a win and a loss can be just a fraction of an inch, perfect alignment in all joints is essential. One of the great things about the team at Slow Wellness is no matter where I had an issue, whether it was my spine, my foot, knee, wrist, or shoulder, they were always able to help. This team, made up of Dr. Rex and Molly Stevens, Dr. Sachs, and Dr. Bandolo, is sure to help you reach your health and fitness goals too. If it's chiropractic care you need, go where I go, Slow Wellness Center. Check them out at slowwellness.com or call 543-8688.
Hey everyone, Eric Fiallo here from LeftLaneSports.com. Are you tired of paying full retail on your favorite outdoor and endurance brands? Well, whether you run, bike, swim, hike, climb, or surf, LeftLaneSports.com has got you covered. Save 50 to 70% off retail every day on brands like Under Armour, Asics, New Balance, Timex, Hurley, Patagonia, and more. Visit LeftLaneSports.com and sign up for a free membership. Plus, save on shipping by picking up your order at our headquarters in San Luis Obispo. LeftLaneSports.com. Gear you need, prices you want, service you deserve.
Puma Aquatics team offers year-round swim programming for novice, recreational, and competitive swimmers. For 16 years, Puma has developed some of the fastest swimmers on the Central Coast, as well as the nation. Puma has 3 convenient locations to choose from, providing programming for all of San Luis Obispo County. Puma offers swim assessments for new swimmers on Tuesdays and Thursdays at the SLO Kennedy Club, Atascadero Kennedy Club, and Arroyo Grande High School. For more information about Puma Aquatics, check out pumaswim.org. Join the Puma Pride and challenge yourself to reach new levels in your swimming. Puma Aquatics, where pride, passion, and persistence pay off.
Arts Cyclery wants to invite everyone to join the celebration. Arts has just been voted the best bike shop in San Luis Obispo County for the 22nd year in a row. To celebrate, Arts has great pricing across the whole store and specials like free gloves with any Castelli jersey or short purchase, free laser sunglasses with the purchase of any laser helmet, plus so much more. So come down to Art Cyclery at 181 Suburban Road and celebrate with great service, massive selection, and prices that will not be beat. Offers good while supplies last.
Did you know that many people endure aches and pains in their feet, legs, and back, but few recognize the solution for some of the more common causes are as simple as a more supportive and comfortable insole? At Cadence Insoles, we understand the insole in your shoe provides the first line of support and comfort for your feet. Designed by physical therapists and recommended by podiatrists, Cadence insoles provide the elusive combination of orthotic support with the shock-absorbing comfort of an insole. A local business? Visit cadenceinsoles.com for more information. Cadence Insoles. Support made comfortable.
We're back with Living the Run.
The texts are pouring in. Why are you so worked up tonight? I tell you, when you start talking insurance and you start talking some of the nonsense that goes on in that, it's frustrating as can be, and especially when you can see people make the lifestyle changes that I explained in the last segment. Sometimes this stuff is so easy to do, and we just get so blindsided and blocked, and it's just roadblocks everywhere when you come to insurance, and it's just... You got to see it for what it is. It's about bottom line dollars. It has nothing at all to do with your health. Guys, this is Rex Stevens, Olympian Paul Tarek out. Don't forget, later in the show, tips and takeaways. As always, we got Blood Boiler and our book of the week. But right now on the show, he's come on multiple times, and we will dispel the myths about the non-relationship between a knee, hip, ankle, what have you. But it's just unbelievable stuff. Matt Smith, movement specialist, chiropractor out of Austin, Texas. Man, glad to have you back on. We're hitting this week. You and I have talked symptoms versus no symptoms, function versus dysfunction. You can connect the dots to any of those and make them work. The lumbar spine, I know, and the research knows, so oftentimes there is problems brewing. It's like a good cup of coffee. It starts heating up. The problem is you don't always sense it until something blows. Talk about some of the studies we're seeing out there, man, in the world of low back and symptomatology, or in some cases, asymptomatology.
Yeah, Rex, first of all, man, I love the rant. I think it's a really important thing for you to hit that kind of stuff on this show. Money can lead to a very jaded perspective of health and how to deal with it, and I think that we've seen that. And it's kind of been the downfall of things, but I'll get off my soapbox real quick. And, I think that the low back, both of us are, spinal specialists, and we deal with this stuff regularly. But when I started thinking about this topic and ways that we can address it and kind of talk about, symptoms versus asymptomatic patterns and ways to look at it. Basically, I pulled up a study from the 90s. There were a few studies from the 90s that talked about, basically they took a bunch of asymptomatic patients, so patients with no pain, and they did MRIs of their low back. And this is a big thing because we rely on MRIs a lot in the healthcare system to kind of direct our treatment and direct the way that we're going to go. But basically, they took almost 100 of these guys, and over 50% of them have disc bulges in their back, in their lumbar spine, with no symptoms at all. And so, essentially, what this means is there can be disc bulges without actual neurological patterning, without actual, like, true damage to nerves. And so it's not always a major issue to have a disc bulge, and you can be functional with a disc bulge. You know, most people kind of later on in life will be dealing with this stuff, but it doesn't always mean that it's the end of the world. And so a lot of times we'll see people in the clinic who have gone to their medical doctor or gone to, you know, an orthopedist and basically gotten an MRI done, and the report basically says you have multiple levels of disc bulge, and this is causing this. And, you know, a lot of times we've seen with spinal surgery over and over with the unsuccessful rates, a lot of times with spinal surgery, basically there's been shown a lack of correlation all the time as far as disc bulge on an MRI with symptom patterns. And so it's just kind of interesting stuff to look at, you know. Basically when people look at MRIs, it's kind of like looking at a picture and just naming off every single thing that you see in the picture. And we know that if you just took a photograph and you name all those things, you're not telling the whole story, right? And so you're not necessarily getting all the information that you need. And a lot of times people get freaked out and reach straight for spinal surgery because they have these disc bulges on MRIs when conservative care could actually prevent them from getting further symptoms and could actually correct the symptoms that they have right off the bat. Tell me a little bit about what you think about that, and what have you experienced in your clinic?
Yeah, I mean, no question about it. I think that that term herniation, you know, is used pretty loosely. You've seen it, the term sciatica used pretty loosely. Yeah. It's kind of all over the place. But, you know, one of the things I think that we have to look at and help patients understand a little bit is exactly what you said. Many people have back pain without herniations. Many people do not have back pain but do have herniations. But the good news is that the largest majority of those herniations, as you said, with conservative care, not only can be corrected if symptomatic or asymptomatic, but you can actually see the body heal itself. It's another brilliant design where the body is in a constant state of trying to get to that healing of itself, or that homeostasis we used before, where you get resorption of these discs, right? You know, 6 months comes down the road, 1 year down the road, you re-MRI after doing exercises, corrective care, joint manipulation, maybe changes in diet, maybe some weight loss, who knows what it might be, that just brings down some of that inflammation. You see these discs resorb. The herniation that was there is no longer there. And it's such a brilliant thing to take that approach as opposed to the medicate, so don't feel anything. Or just go to that surgical intervention that really wasn't required in the first place, leave some damaging scar tissue you're never going to get rid of, and leave yourself vulnerable down the road.
Well, exactly. And we talk, you know, in our clinic, one of the things that we claim to be to people, you know, when we have people in for their first visit, we claim to be just a really good filter as far as what they need. And so we treat them with conservative care first, with chiropractic, with some active release techniques, some exercise, that kind of stuff. And we see very quickly if they're going to respond to that conservative care. And so, you know, kind of the bottom line for me with this topic is basically, you know, go the conservative route first and then start looking for other options, especially with low back pain. I mean, you know, basically what that study means to me is that low back pain can come from a lot of different places. And even MRIs can get that kind of stuff wrong. It doesn't tell the whole picture, right? And so you need to start looking at, you know, clinical stuff, looking at clinical exams and all that kind of stuff. But the bottom line is we need to check this stuff out conservatively first. And, you know, if you get a good orthopedic surgeon or a good MD or a good chiropractor, everyone's going to go that conservative route first, right? And then start referring out and then start using the network. It's not about being for or against surgery or against, you know, extreme measures, because sometimes that stuff is totally necessary, part of a very necessary part of our healthcare system. But I think it's super effective to have that conservative filter and see if you'll respond to, you know, muscle work and chiropractic and that kind of stuff, just getting your core activated properly and stabilizing the low back, those things are really important to look at before we start, doing really structural work and getting cut on with surgery.
But it's so much more fun to take a few hydrocodone and throw back a few beers, and it just is. It's all better, right? I don't have to think about it. Hey, Matt Smith out in Austin, Texas, talking movement specialist, where focus is on the lumbar spine, but we never get too focused, right? We never get too hyper-focused in one area because of the relationships we understand between the lumbar spine, those things above it, those things below it. Talk about a little bit of something somebody could do at home to start to give themselves a mild evaluation, but also an opportunity to make some improvements in those movement centers in that lumbar spine.
Well, with lumbar stuff and really everything, you were talking a little bit earlier about, hip, knee, ankle function in relation to the low back and all that. And in reality, one of the main things that gets misconstrued in the health and fitness community is core strength and core stability. And a lot of times when we start looking at the lumbar spine and really further down the chain, if we have a lack of core stability, everything goes. And so what happens is we'll find symptoms in different areas, whether it be the low back, say you blow a disc in the low back, or you have some serious low back pain, or you just start getting some degeneration in the knee, start finding some pain in the knee, or you get some Achilles tendonitis. A lot of times that just comes back to that fundamental issue of not having proper stabilization of the low back and pelvis, and that is what core strength and core stability truly is, right? And so one of the really baseline things that we'll do in the clinic, especially if we have a low back patient that, isn't neurological, isn't having any disc bulge symptoms or anything like that, but someone who's just come in and kind of flared up their low back, one of the things that we'll do to kind of reactivate the core, take some tension off the low back, and restore some proper function in that lumbopelvic region, or that kind of deep core region. And I guess I should talk about, when we talk about the core, we're not talking six-pack and obliques here. That's one of the things that really gets misconstrued in the fitness community. What we need from the core are those really deep muscles that you can't see, those multifidi, the psoas, the transverse abdominis, all that stuff, all the things that kind of surround the spine and the pelvis to keep it stable.
All the stuff that gets weak from sitting. All the stuff that gets weak from sitting.
Exactly. That actually leads me right in. Perfect segue, bro. Basically, that the exercise that we'll have people do is called crocodile breathing. And we haven't talked about this at all, but this is something that we do in our clinic. And essentially what crocodile breathing is supposed to do is it's supposed to restore proper breathing mechanics and proper core stabilization. Okay? A lot of times when you're in that seated position, which we talk about a lot, the hips get super tight, but secondarily, it also changes our breathing pattern. The high-stress lifestyle, the seated lifestyle that we find, rampant in our society really has an effect on all the processes of our body, including breathing, and breathing has a direct effect on low back pain. And so crocodile breathing is this exercise that we'll have people do to restore the proper functioning of the diaphragm, take tension off the low back, reactivate the core, and also take some tension off the neck. Because when we start breathing improperly, we'll start lifting that chest up towards the chin, and it starts to really intensify all that tension in the neck. And so basically what the exercise is we'll have someone either lay on their stomach or their back. Most often I'll have someone lay on their back if it's comfortable. And if it's uncomfortable to have their legs straight, I'll have them tuck their feet up and just place them on the floor. But basically I have every patient put their hands on their stomach. And essentially, if you think about it, if you've ever seen a crocodile or an alligator breathe, they breathe through that belly. You can see their belly expand when they breathe. And so we really try and translate that to the patient. And so they place their hands on their belly, and as they take a deep breath in through their nose and mouth, they really try to expand their belly into their hands. And what's happening there is that lung cavity, that thoracic cavity is expanding. Those lungs are being filled with air. The diaphragm is dropping down and being activated. It's taking tension off the low back. And then at the end, when we're breathing out, we have them breathe all that air out, press the belly button towards the spine, and really squeeze and brace the abdomen as they breathe out, and it just takes all that tension off the low back. It's a fantastic thing to do, whether you have low back pain or not. Just kind of training yourself for breathing is an incredibly important thing. It's something that we really implement with pretty much most of our patients. Start getting going on this stuff right away. There's no way to get hurt doing this. It's a very simple exercise, something that I like to do in my own life. Morning, noon, and night, I'll kind of reset this stuff because, I live a decently high-stress lifestyle myself. Things get a little crazy. My breathing gets out of whack, and everything starts to go. So this is a really cool, it's kind of a meditative process, but a very, very cool one where you can just kind of take a second and reset that diaphragm.
Hey, two things I love from that, again, Matt Smith, movement specialist, chiropractor out in Texas. All the people that live the longest with the least disease all breathe well. They all go through a meditative process. They all breathe properly. They don't start using accessory breathing muscles. They don't start having all these shifts, just like you said, in mechanics, putting their neck all goofy. People that live the longest, go to any continent, anywhere, with the least disease, don't have breathing problems. Why? Because they maximize oxygen efficiency. And this is the big thing, Matt. I love that you hit this. They maximize oxygen efficiency. Oxygen inversely proportional to pain. Good oxygen users maximize their energy efficiency. They don't waste energy, and therefore their tissues last longer. It's the simplest of things, man.
Needs
Brilliant
that
stuff.
oxygen to regenerate, Just needs that oxygen to regenerate and heal. I mean, there's just nothing better than, I love that exercise. I love all kinds of exercise, but that's one that when I started incorporating that in my lifestyle, not only did it slow me down because I'm a pretty high-speed guy, and I really like explosive movement, and, I really like lifting weights and all that kind of stuff. But
it helps that
I started. Absolutely. I'm not a yogi at heart. I'm not a big yoga guy or anything like that. I wish I was. But this is something that's very yoga-related and very kind of essential to truly living a healthy lifestyle on many different levels.
Good segment, man. Thanks so much. Let's hit that mid-back next week. Talk about breathing. We'll get right back at it probably when we hit that rib cage, that thoracic spine, and its relation to the whole thing as well. Good stuff.
I love it, man. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks, brother. Hey, good stuff from Matt Smith. I know long segment there, guys, but a good segment. And the reality is that when you start to talk about pain syndromes, you start to talk about low back pain in relation to abdomen, to diaphragm, and so forth, it is for real. People that know how to breathe, know how to do the crocodile breathing or any of the other meditative techniques, they get rid of pain, they increase their energy, they increase their strength, they increase their longevity, they increase their quality of life. All things you want to do. Hey, when we come back, we're up against the clock here. The book of the week, a great, great book, and he got right into it. He's talking about crocodiles. Book of the week, Becoming a Supple Leopard by Dr. Kelly Starrett. We'll hit in that. I got a letter that you are just going to be blown away by. One of the most unneighborly things you could ever do. It's going to blow your socks off. We got Blood Boiler, and we'll finish that show with tips and takeaways. Guys, stick with us right here on Living the Run, ESPN at 1280 The Ticket, 38 after the hour.
You're listening to Living the Run on ESPN Radio 1280 The Ticket.
Folks, when it comes to the health of my teeth, I will not compromise, and neither should you. It's time you go where my wife and I go. Go see Dr. Ryan Ross. I get it. Not everyone loves a dentist, and heck, even a few of you out there are scared to death of these offices. Bad past experiences? Well, you ever had a bad haircut? How about a bad meal somewhere? You didn't stop getting your haircut, and you certainly didn't stop eating, so stop ignoring your teeth. Dr. Ross's gentle approach, calming demeanor, and office full of upbeat staff puts your dental fears to rest. Conveniently located in a great little house on Marsh Street downtown, Dr. Ross's office exudes the highest level of professionalism, mixed with an atmosphere much like your own home. Look, nobody's in a rush here. It's not a get 'em in, get 'em out atmosphere. Every time I'm in Dr. Ross's office, it's like I'm the only guy that matters. No distractions, just full focus on my oral health. If you're interested in the highest quality in dental care and want to walk out of the office every time with a smile, call Dr. Ryan Ross today, 541-5800.
Hey guys, Paul Paul Tarek from Living the Run here. As a former Olympian, there is only one place myself and fellow athletes go when it comes to chiropractic care on the Central Coast. With 4 chiropractors in the clinic, Slow Wellness Center is the largest, most comprehensive group of docs in San Luis Obispo County. I began seeing Dr. Rex Stevens back in 2005 for spinal adjustments to help maximize my performance, minimize my injury, and allow me to compete at my best. When the difference between a win and a loss can be just a fraction of an inch, perfect alignment in all joints is essential. One of the great things about the team at Slow Wellness is no matter where I had an issue, whether it was my spine, my foot, knee, wrist, or shoulder, they were always able to help. This team, made up of Dr. Rex and Molly Stevens, Dr. Sachs, and Dr. Bandolo, is sure to help you reach your health and fitness goals too. If it's chiropractic care you need, go where I go, Slow Wellness Center. Check them out at slowwellness.com or call 543-8688.
Hey everyone, Eric Fiallo here from LeftLaneSports.com. Are you tired of paying full retail on your favorite outdoor and endurance brands? Well, whether you run, bike, swim, hike, climb, or surf, LeftLaneSports.com has got you covered. Save 50 to 70% off retail every day on brands like Under Armour, Asics, New Balance, Timex, Hurley, Patagonia, and more. Visit LeftLaneSports.com and sign up for a free membership. Plus, save on shipping by picking up your order at our headquarters in San Luis Obispo. LeftLaneSports.com. Gear you need, prices you want, service you deserve.
Arts Cyclery wants to invite everyone to join the celebration. Arts has just been voted the best bike shop in San Luis Obispo County for the 22nd year in a row. To celebrate, Arts has great pricing across the whole store and specials like free gloves with any Castelli jersey or short purchase, free laser sunglasses with the purchase of any laser helmet, plus so much more. So come down to Arts Cyclery at 181 Suburban Road and celebrate with great service, massive selection, and prices that will not be beat. Offers good while supplies last.
We're back with Living the Run.
New segment for you guys, Book of the Week. We've been doing this for the last month. Book of the Week brought to you by Left Lane Sports. Gear you need, prices you want, service you deserve. Check them out at leftlanesports.com. Can I just say this? Before I get to the book, there's certain things that just flat out frustrate me, and they're trains of thought that just don't make sense, but that we just continue to do it over and over again. And one of them is posture. You know, I hear this every single day, virtually, for the last bunch of years, is people continue to say, God, I need to think more about my posture. I need to work on my posture. I need to pay attention to my posture. And although the suggestion is okay, and although we would suggest, you know, it is good to be loosening up muscles that may be too tight. It is good to activate things that maybe aren't getting that active. But guys, as human beings, it is not meant to be on our conscious all the time, or even much of the time, to be thinking about our posture. We innately get up on 2 feet. Nobody tells us to. We just start to do that. We start to evolve. We go from being able to lay in there to sitting there to crawling to just going to our feet. It's innate. The infant doesn't think about their posture. They don't consciously make the decision. They just do. And it's because it's instinctual. It's part of our genetic makeup. It's just what we do as human beings. So to postulate that we are supposed to be thinking about this more, I would argue the opposite. We should be thinking about it less. And this goes right into the book. National bestseller, Dr. Kelly Starrett. I continue to hear patients coming into our clinic at the Slow Wellness Center talking about this book, asked me if I ever heard of it. I've had this book. You know, I was introduced to the author, Kelly Starrett, way back. You know, he's a guy up in the Bay Area, practitioner, physical therapist, and a big-time CrossFit gym up there. Really kind of neat guy. Book was published in 2013. It's kind of a textbook, so don't be dismayed if you order this book and it comes and it's kind of heavy and it's kind of big and it looks like one of your college textbooks, because that is the format that it's in. But it is a brilliant book called Becoming a Supple Leopard. Once again, it's called Becoming a Supple Leopard. The tagline on it, guys, is the ultimate guide to resolving pain, preventing injury, and optimizing athletic performance. Kelly does a brilliant job in this book of doing it. But here is the catch on the title. When you look at other animal species, like us, we're animals. They move instinctually. They don't think perhaps about their movements so much. They don't say, hey, I need to walk with better posture. I need to stretch in this position per se. They just instinctually move. And this is kind of a big deal as I think about it even more. The other thing animals don't do is they don't do repetitive movements or movements that would increase the likelihood of their demise. They don't do it. They understand the instincts in relation to survival, and they don't pick deleterious movements and motions over and over and over again that would bring them closer to death or accelerate their risk for death or injury. It's just not something. So he talks about becoming a supple leopard, and when the leopard needs to move fast, it does. When it needs to be agile, it does. When it needs to climb a tree, it does. When it needs to rest, it rests. It doesn't use caffeine to stay up all night long. It doesn't need caffeine to wake up. It doesn't just lay around all day long and do nothing. It has the ability to use its body the way that it was designed to use. This book is brilliant. Again, Becoming a Supple Leopard, Dr. Kelly Starrett. A great book to pick up if you're into health and fitness and all. And a book that summarizes a lot about what Matt was even talking about earlier in the show with regards to, through lifestyle change, being able to minimize pain syndromes with conservative care, being able to do some of these things at home. We talk about that a lot, doing self-myofascial release at home, using foam rollers and lacrosse balls and all that stuff you guys use. Optimizing athletic performance by being able to do some of the most basic of functional movements. And if you can't do them, not starting to take on rigorous, aggressive, very high force exercises when you mechanically can't do some of the foundational basics. He does a brilliant job of combining a lot of different things, from yoga type moves to strength type moves to myofascial self-maintenance type techniques. Good book of the week. Dr. Kelly Starrett, Becoming a Supple Leopard. Hey, let me give you our blood boiler real quick. We'll take one more break, and then I got to read you a letter that is just going to blow you away. You just don't want to be like this letter is in a neighbor. Let me tell you that. It's stunning stuff. You know, when we talk about people who are struggling with being overweight, when we talk about people who are struggling with their blood sugars, struggling with some of these lifestyle things, we want to be encouragers, guys, as neighbors. We want to be encouragers as friends, and this letter will blow your socks off. But Blood Boiler brought to you by Art Cyclery. Check them out at artcyclery.com or right there on Suburban Road. Lucky to have these guys and their expertise. I know so many of you following the Tour de France as it has gotten underway. I heard a big injury today to the champion from last year, so coming out of Great Britain. So anyway, today we hit the track, and we said this at the beginning of the show. It's definitely heating up. We're cooling down just a little bit now, but overall we're still at a higher heat status. And what does that mean? It just means, hey, guys, just making sure, extra sure that we're going out, we're staying hydrated, we're keeping the fluids, we're rehydrating when we come back. We did our usual Wednesday, 3 of us out there today. So props to my partner Sandy Sachs and Kenton. Kenton was out there as well with us. And so the 3 of us got a nice jog out there, got to the track at Cal Poly, about a mile jog in, got a nice 1 mile at a decent clip, and then just started to put in our circuit. It was kind of fun. Did some of those broad jumps. We did some pull-ups. We did some burpees. We did some mountain climbers and a few different things while we would then throw a 400 in between some of those intervals. The broad jump was an interesting one. We started to look back, and a guy that I've worked with now for a bunch of years and was just an excellent decathlete, one of the top in the country, Chris Randolph. Paul knows him well. You watch Chris jump, and it was just so smooth. And I think about Becoming a Supple Leopard. I remember the first time, and Sandy and I were talking about this today, when we watched Chris Randolph broad jump. Just that basic broad jump. You guys remember this stuff in elementary school? We used to get tested on the broad jump. And, there's some people that they landed and it sounded like a bomb went off. They just landed with just that massive pounding, not overly smooth. Some people just didn't seem like they left the ground hardly at all. And then there was a couple of those people, and Sandy probably said it best today when he said, watching Chris broad jump made me believe that humans could fly. or have the potential to fly. And just that smooth, wonderful motion where it looks effortless, so much air underneath the feet, and almost looks as if they're flying. Kind of a fun exercise. If you haven't broad jumped in a long time and you got decent fitness and you've been doing some different things, kind of a fun one to do, to get back and get in that squat and use those arms and kind of catapult yourself forward and put a few of them together, and kind of fun exercise. So great blood boiler out there for us today. Shoot, a lot of fun out on the track. And so I encourage you, get groups of people if you're a group type person. If you know that you're not going to get out there on your own, if you're on your own, man, make the effort. There's a lot of people like that. There's a lot of people just dying for somebody to call them up, send them an email, send them a text, check in with them on Facebook, and say, hey, I was thinking about going to the track. I was thinking about doing a hike tonight. I was thinking about just doing some body weight exercises. I was thinking about going to a yoga class, whatever it might be. Saw a lady today, this afternoon. I was excited. She did that very thing with her daughter, and I think that she had thought that her daughter, a pretty fast runner, track athlete herself, my daughter's not going to want to work out with me. And what are they doing? They're going over to Julia Pixley's bar class. Brilliant class. Everybody loves that stuff. Julia is great. Her teachers that are in there are great. And, all it took was mom asking. And daughter says, yeah, a great thing to do together. So find somebody. If you haven't blood boiled today, there's still a lot of time, a lot of daylight left. You get that in every single day. And as we talked about earlier with breathing, get that blood to move. Red blood cells move. We deliver oxygen. We become more energy efficient. Our life works so much better. Guys, 52 after the hour. We got one more segment, tips and takeaways. You're not going to want to miss this letter because we want to do the opposite. It's shameful that it was ever written, but I know it can catapult us to find one person, at least one person this week, that we can do the exact opposite. We can encourage, we can bring up, we can elevate their mood, trying to get them to reach those health goals through lifestyle change. That's what we do right here on Living the Run, ESPN 1280 The Ticket. Stick with us.
You're listening to Living the Run on ESPN Radio 1280 The Ticket.
Hey guys, Paul Tarek from Living the Run here. As a former Olympian, there is only one place myself and fellow athletes go when it comes to chiropractic care on the Central Coast. With 4 chiropractors in the clinic, Slow Wellness Center is the largest, most comprehensive group of docs in San Luis Obispo County. I began seeing Dr. Rex Stevens back in 2005 for spinal adjustments to help maximize my performance, minimize my injury, and allow me to compete at my best. When the difference between a win and a loss can be just a fraction of an inch, perfect alignment in all joints is essential. One of the great things about the team at Slow Wellness is no matter where I had an issue, whether it was my spine, my foot, knee, wrist, or shoulder, they were always able to help. This team, made up of Dr. Rex and Molly Stevens, Dr. Sachs, and Dr. Bandolo, is sure to help you reach your health and fitness goals too. If it's chiropractic care you need, go where I go, Slow Wellness Center. Check them out at slowwellness.com or call 543-8688.
Hey everyone, Eric Fiallo here from leftlanesports.com. Are you tired of paying full retail on your favorite outdoor and endurance brands? Well, whether you run, bike, swim, hike, climb, or surf, leftlanesports.com has got you covered. Save 50 to 70% off retail every day on brands like Under Armour, Asics, New Balance, Timex, Hurley, Patagonia, and more. Visit leftlanesports.com and sign up for a free membership. Plus, save on shipping by picking up your order at our headquarters in San Luis Obispo. leftlanesports.com. Gear you need, prices you want, service you deserve.
Puma Aquatics team offers year-round swim programming for novice, recreational, and competitive swimmers. For 16 years, Puma has developed some of the fastest swimmers on the Central Coast, as well as the nation. Puma has 3 convenient locations to choose from, providing programming for all of San Luis Obispo County. Puma offers swim assessments for new swimmers on Tuesdays and Thursdays at the SLO Kennedy Club, Atascadero Kennedy Club, and Arroyo Grande High School. For more information about Puma Aquatics, check out pumaswim.org. Join the Puma Pride and challenge yourself to reach new levels in your swimming. Puma Aquatics, where pride, passion, and persistence pay off.
Arts Cyclery wants to invite everyone to join the celebration. Arts has just been voted the best bike shop in San Luis Obispo County for the 22nd year in a row. To celebrate, Arts has great pricing across the whole store and specials like free gloves with any Castelli jersey or short purchase, free laser sunglasses with the purchase of any laser helmet, plus so much more. So come down to Art Cyclery at 181 Suburban Road and celebrate with great service, massive selection, and prices that will not be beat. Offers good while supplies last.
Did you know that many people endure aches and pains in their feet, legs, and back, but few recognize the solution for some of the more common causes are as simple as a more supportive and comfortable insole? At Cadence Insoles, we understand the insole in your shoe provides the first line of support and comfort for your feet. Designed by physical therapists and recommended by podiatrists, Cadence Insoles provide the elusive combination of orthotic support with the shock-absorbing comfort of an insole. A local business? Visit cadenceinsoles.com for more information. Cadence Insoles, support made comfortable.
We're back with Living the Run.
Rex Stevens in, Paul Tarek out, but not without chiming in. And this is the kind of stuff that drives Paul Tarek wild. It drives me up a freaking wall as well, guys. Here's the article. In the front page of the paper, Paul pulls out, getting enough exercise may be key to obesity fight. How is this a study that we're funding? Guess where this study came out of? Stanford. Stanford are quote-unquote most brilliant people in the world, one of the most brilliant universities around. This is the stuff they're spending money on to tell us that getting enough exercise may be key to the obesity fight. As you read this thing, researchers from Stanford University School of Medicine report a strong correlation between the rise in obesity and a striking drop in the amount of time Americans spent exercising when not at work over the past 22 years. We don't need this research. It's unbelievable. I don't even know how to respond to this, that Stanford University is wasting their time and money. But here's the deal, guys. Here's the letter I told you I promised you. Listen to this, and I don't know if this is real, but I just read it. It says, "Dear neighbor, I've noticed you're working out in your backyard. I can see you from my window. I also see you running or trying to run around the block. Please stop such activities. Nobody wants to see your fat bouncing up and down in your shirt. Thank God you wear a shirt so we do not have to see what's under. I am not the only one in the neighborhood who is getting tired of seeing you struggle running up and down the block every day. I personally do not wish to subject my kids to having to see somebody so obese outside when they are just trying to play in the front yard. If you feel you must work out, please move elsewhere where you will not bother people. Sincerely, a concerned neighbor." How about sincerely a jerk of a neighbor? I tell you, the thing about San Luis Obispo that kicks butt is that we have a community that gets together and cooperates, that encourages, and that can get folks who are struggling so mightily bad with things like obesity to get out and exercise. Guys, we don't need Stanford to tell us that increased exercise will help you in the fight against obesity. And we don't need neighbors who want to try to kill the spirit of somebody who's struggling, fighting to make that lifestyle change. Be an encourager this week. Find somebody at your work, somebody in your neighborhood, someone in your family. Encourage them this week in what they're struggling with. Get them to make that lifestyle change that life, and forever be able to live.